Hello, Watch Collectors Guild family. Cheers from the great state of Texas. I am enjoying a Shiner Trail Mix Ale, the Trail Ale. Trail Mix inspired ale brewed with chocolate nuts, dried fruit, and other natural flavors. Very tasty, especially if you like stouts and dark ales. I would say give it a try as soon as you can, as it is seasonal. So I have for you today my long-term review of my Seiko Prospex Speedtimer Yellow Dial SSC817. So I've had this for 10 months now, and I'm going to be going over what I like about it, some kind of general reactions, and some reactions, observations from other people, and what I dislike about it. I'm also going to do a little Tachometer 101 for those who have the need for speed. I'll go over how to use it. And what else? So I'll do at the end a scorecard going over similar what I did with the SKX GMT, the Seiko 5 in my last video. Give it grades for qualities that I think are important when I choose a watch. So just general disclaimer too, this is my review of this watch. I'm not trying to get you to buy it or anything. I collect watches. I do sell some of my collection as well. But this case is just like, hey, this is my adventure in watch collecting, and these are my observations on this particular watch that I picked up. So let's get into it. So let's go with the likes. Okay. I like the size of this for sure, the form factor. It's a classic design you see for chronographs. So, you know, there's a heritage to chronographs. Obviously, Seiko's been around for a bit. So they actually released their first automatic chronograph, the Speedtimer, the original Speedtimer, in 1969. So it has that heritage factor. It's not just another like Daytona or Speedmaster clone. You know, of course, the Daytona came before it in the earlier in the 60s, I think, like 63, and then the Speedmaster was like 1957. So you get a watch that has heritage to it. It stands on its own, which has really been drawing me to Seiko lately as I've continued this journey in watch collecting. I see that here's a brand that's affordable, it's attainable, and it still has that heritage legacy that you look for, that kind of draws you to collecting these watches as you get more into it, without the huge costs that are associated with the high-end Swiss brands. So that is a huge plus. Now, the case you see here is 39 millimeters in diameter, lug to lug 45.5 millimeters, with a thickness of 13.3 millimeters. So it is a comfortable form factor. Definitely like right at that kind of I would say mid-size watch for a lot of people. Probably 39, 40, 39 and under is kind of like the magic number, especially now that I've seen watches go to the smaller sizes and steering away from the above 40. The biggest like I have for this is I love this crystal. So this is what you call a top hat crystal. So it protrudes, and as I understand, that's actually a dive watch kind of purpose. So even though this isn't really a dive watch, it's the styling is that way, but it gives extra protection to the watch itself. So you can't, if the thickness of the crystal, you want it to be thick, but you can't be internally too thick without touching the hands, then you can go the opposite direction, go outwards. But it's just to me it's a handsome feature. And I do love the dial color as well. So it's just called Yellow by Seiko, but you know, to me this is like, it could be a beige. I called it like a camel color in my last video about it. Almost like a light gold. But yeah, it's a pretty color. And to use the word again, it's a handsome color, I think. You know, you're getting away from the blue and the white and black. So just kind of your most common watch colors, but it's still, it pulls it off well. And I've heard it been compared to a Daytona. Someone, you know, is like, hey, that looks like a Daytona, but yeah, obviously it's not. And it's a much more affordable option, you know, and you get the chronograph. It's not automatic, so this is a solar movement. The movement is V192, a solar powered movement. So I really, if I'm going quartz now, I think I would go solar if I can. You know, if I'm going retro, then I'm gonna look for like tuning forks and stuff. But solar is an awesome way to go, and I've really enjoyed just, you know, making sure it gets some light and knowing that it's charged. And one of the big features of this watch is that, let me get some more light here. You can actually, let's see, down here on this bottom sub dial, you got your power tank there. So you got F for full, and then you got a midpoint, and you got E for empty. So right now it's right at the midpoint. So the movement, a big positive there. Accuracy has been great, so no complaints. And it's nice to, you know, the good thing about quartz, just set it and forget it. You know, your automatic movements, you gotta keep them moving, gotta keep winding them. But this one, it's good to go. Just make sure it gets a little light. Other positives, I do enjoy the bracelet of this very much. So this is a thick bracelet. It's got some weight to it, and I mentioned this before. This my favorite style of links is having ones that are kind of curved at the top. So this one's like not as extreme as the SKX that I reviewed, but it's still really nice. Clasp, you can see milled clasp. Great sound to it. Definitely a great clasp for this. And so yeah, we went over case, great case, dial, movement, bracelet, clasp. Those are the positives. Yeah, just styling here. The function of these controls here is great. You know, you kind of have to give them a good press, so you don't have to worry about accidentally pressing them. Crown is good. It is not a screw down crown, so just a regular pop out crown there. And let's go into the dislikes. So what I didn't like about this was it's definitely lacking in lume. And let's show y'all. So let's get a lume shot going. Okay, time for that lume shot. You can see I've got my hour hand, minute hand. I've got 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and I've got 9 o'clock. Yeah, it's actually easier to see. It's brighter for you guys because this camera is very good about picking up low light levels. But that dot at the top, right below 12 o'clock, is your second hand for your chronograph. So I just set it off now so you can see it moving. Okay, let's go back. Let's see, for dislikes, I think that about covered it. You know, it does get a little scratchy. So it's not as much as a scratch magnet as that Seiko 5 SKX, but it's that is something to consider. So tachometer 101. So say you want to be able to time the velocity, so distance over time or speed of something. So say, you know, it's automotive and you're timing some really fast cars. So you know you have a point of reference, so you know where the cars would begin and end, and that you know the distance of that is like, say, 1 mile. So you want to calculate miles per hour. All right, so here we go. So the car starts going, and from the starting point, and you're waiting for it to pass that 1 mile marker. So let's say it stops at right here at 180. So you're saying that over the past 20 seconds, so that this car has been going 180 miles per hour. And if you wanted to check that, let's bring out our calculator here so you know. Okay, 180 miles. If we were to say how many seconds in an hour, so 60 times 60 is 3600. So divide those two and you get 0.05 miles per second. Now we want to know how many seconds were necessary for that 1 mile. So 1 divided by this number gets us 20. So there you go, 20 seconds to cover 1 mile, which is 180 miles per hour. So pretty cool, pretty handy. And this video is already long, so there's there's more you can do if you need, depending on the scale of which you're measuring. So, but you guys can look that up, or I can do another video later. So let's get into the scorecard. But first, if you're still watching, hey, please consider subscribing. I'm going to have more content coming this year, reviewing watches I purchase, and just kind of general experiences in the great adventure of watch collecting. So much to keep up with these days, which I gotta talk about. But let's go into the scorecard for this. So overall case design, I would give this a B plus. So it is not it is very nice, very sharp looking, but as far as the chronographs go, it's still a bit generic. The dial, though, I would give an A plus. I do really like the dial here, the coloring, the general layout. It's just an A plus there for me. The bracelet, I'll give an A there. So it meets my expectations. It is definitely high quality and it meets expectations. It's not like an A plus would be something probably more unique that just really seems like it suits the watch perfectly, but I can't say that for this. The movement, I do enjoy the movement. Does everything it's supposed to do. I'll give it an A. Same thing, does all it's supposed to do. Not something that particularly blows me away or anything, but definitely nothing wrong with it. The crystal, A plus there. That top hat crystal hasn't shown any scratches whatsoever. Sapphire, it is a great crystal, and now I think in the watches that I purchase, I'm going to look for that top hat style. Now, the clasp. So the clasp it's great clasp, milled, solid, good sound to it when you actually close it. So I would give that an A as well. Lume is definitely lacking in this watch, so that has to be actually probably a problemed area. I would just give it I'll give it it's hard to, I'll give it a C minus. There we go. A C minus, a little less than satisfactory. Then a little less than just minimal. Okay, so price. So the MSRP on this is $680. That is a hefty price for this watch. However, the real market price of this watch has been like more in the 400s, so between 400 and 500 I've seen by your jewelry and watch retailers. So less than 500 I think is good for this watch. So that sums it up. As I've said before, if you're still watching, please consider subscribing. Thanks for bearing with me through these videos. They can be kind of long, but it is hard to go through everything in a quick amount of time. All right, y'all. Happy watch collecting. Catch you next time.